I think it's interesting that they say now, like, you know, young kids don't have to aspire to rap or go to the league, you know, and they say that you can work to be a doctor, you can work to be, you know, an entrepreneur. What are some principles, like, I know we have the 21 keys to success here. What are like maybe 3 keys that, I know all of them apply across the board, but what are maybe like 3, maybe your favorites that you definitely, undeniably see working multilaterally in life and in any industry for somebody young trying to come up?
Well, you know, my man Coley, who really really did all the work on this book, 21 Keys of Success. Mm-hmm. It was not an idea to write a book when me and him started. He picked humbleness as number 1. Wow. And when he picked humbleness, I couldn't argue with him because I love humble pie. Yeah. You know, sure. I mean, there's been times that people have said things to me and I'll be like, man, and I had to calm myself down and check myself because, you know, one mistake out of anger or frustration could cause you years and years of heartache. So being humble was just so important. I mean, when I was in prison and I realized is that if you're humble, people will like you. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody likes a guy that's braggadocious, you know, that's overbearing, always want to be right, always want to be the boss. Let me be the boss sometimes, man. Yeah. You know, let me drive the car every now and then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let me be the one sometimes. But if you're always that guy, and then your friends will start to have some animosity. You know, where, man, I hope that dude don't win this time. You know what I'm saying? I hope he don't make it this time. But if you humble, they're going to be saying, man, I sure hope he win, man. He needs a win. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's my man. Yeah, my man need a win every now and then. So it's so much different when you're humble and you won't see your friend do bad. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing good, your friend is not going to be doing bad.
Right.
You know, where he can't eat, he ain't got no, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
If he's humble.
Right.
But if he's bodacious, you're gonna be like, man, let him sleep on the street a little while. Let him see what that concrete feel like. You know what I'm saying? He don't know what it feel like. Yeah. You know, he been had it so good so long, and he thinking that he's so humble pie, man. When Cody picked humbleness for the number 1, you know, I said, Cody, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't argue with him.
It's a way of being even keel as well. Just being even keel, like. Let me read this key 1, humbleness here. Being humble does not mean being weak or a pushover. Rather, you do not elevate yourself above another just because. You understand that you are not fundamentally greater than another man. Conversely, you understand that no other man is fundamentally greater than you. From this perspective, you live in a mode of continuous improvement because you understand that reality. All men are created equal, but you can make yourself greater by purposefully dedicating yourself to greatness. You think like a boss, yet you work with the effort and determination of an underpaid intern. So you're staying hungry, you're staying humble, and then right there you level out the playing field in the competitive field because you're just sprinting, you're looking at those hurdles and you jumping over that. You're not looking back behind you. And I think I agree, man. You go into any industry, any form of life with humbleness, and it can get you a lot, you know,
wherever you want to go. Yeah. I mean, you could even with that principle, you can even fool people into believing that you're doing it just to help them, and you're not gonna get anything out of it. Which you can never do nothing for nobody, and you don't get anything out of it. It's like with my documentary right now, and you know, I could be going around yelling about how they did me with my documentary. You know, I didn't get any money out of my documentary. They beat me out all the money. The judge gave them all the rights to my documentary, my partners. And I took money out of my pocket and helped pay for the documentary. Wow. I didn't even get my money back.
Okay. I know that's not going to stop your hustle, though, so speak on it.
The documentary is the number 1 documentary on Netflix right now. I'm killing Netflix. Everywhere I go, people saw that documentary and they tell me how great it was. So I didn't get cash money out of it. They got a few $100,000, you know. But the documentary is gonna make me a billionaire. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I can see because I got vision. So absolutely. I'm getting ready to be a billionaire from the documentary that they only got a few $100,000 out of, which they could have been still been my partners right now, you know, where we would still be working on this billion, but they sold out for a few $100,000. And so often that happens to us. And then I would go with number 2 would be, I would say studying, man. Learn your trade. Become the smartest person at what you do. You know, I tell people when I first started selling cocaine, I couldn't make any money. And what I found out is the reason I wasn't making any money because I didn't know nothing about selling cocaine. Man, how you gonna make some money and you don't know nothing? We ain't supposed to pay you for being a dummy. You know, we pay people for being smart, for being clever, for being shrewd. You know, we don't pay people because you can turn on the TV set and you can watch the basketball game or watch the fight like I'm going to do tonight. But but people don't get paid for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what you have to do is you have to find what you really want to do. Something that you're just passionate about. See, I can get passionate about anything. I can get passionate about digging a hole because I can play minds with my mind. I can play games with my mind to convince my mind that digging that hole is what's gonna get me the $1 billion.
Yeah.
See, if I don't dig the hole, I can't get to the billion.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna do all this other stuff, but first you gotta dig the hole because if you don't dig the hole to put the pole in that's gonna hold up the roof, you can never have the studio to record in. So first thing you do is you dig the hole, get the hole dug. And without that, there's nothing. So it all starts from educating yourself. When they see me now, I know y'all know I was illiterate when I went to prison. I went to prison, I was totally illiterate. I taught myself how to read and write. Before I left prison, I read over 300 books. Over 300 books. I don't know how many newspapers. I don't know how many magazines. I stopped watching TV. I stopped listening to the radio. I totally consumed myself with the things that I know that I was going to be doing when I got out.
Is there any books that still resonate with you to this day or anything that stand
absolutely, out? Absolutely. In my books, I'll tell you which ones. The same ones I told Cody to read. When Cody wrote me a year before I got out of prison.
Okay.
And he had a magazine called Get Money, and he was like, man, I want to interview you in my magazine, and I'm a young brother. I went to this college here, and this is what I'm doing. I'm in New York. And I said, okay, if you're a real entrepreneur and you ain't read these 3 books, you jerking yourself off. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. As a Man Think by James Allen. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Classy. Those are the books. Those books allow me to go back into my life and break my life down to this right here. And when I wrote this book, I tried to incorporate the important things out of those books and out of my life that I saw those books showed me in my life so that young people could read my story and understand what it's going to take from them to get the success that I got.
That's amazing, man, that you went in illiterate and you came out an author. That's crazy. 3 books. This is book number 3, right? The 21 Keys of Success is number 3?
Really, yeah. I have a novel that I wrote with a guy named Jimmy the Saint. We wrote that in prison. It's kind of based on true story, but it's fictional. It's a fictional story. So yeah. I got another book I'm already working on right now. I'm gonna wait until I finish with these 2. Let these 2 simmer on y'all a little bit, and then I'm gonna hit y'all with the bombshell. Nice. I got a bombshell I'm finna hit them with. You know, the whole country gonna be talking about it. You know, the nerve of me to put it out. That's what they gonna say. Come on. How dare he?
So with you know, being an author, and is it self-published?
I'm self-published.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some people watching might think that being an author or being a self-published author is is something that's elusive to them. Can you break down like how you go about self-publishing and just getting your story out there to the world?
Well, it's really easy to self-publish to me. I mean, the hardest part to doing a book is writing it. That's the hard part, writing your book. Once you write your book, the rest of it is fairly easy, and it's cheaper than most people think. You know, I know people that come up to me and they get their book published and they paying $7 and $6 a book. But it's a lot cheaper than that if you do your research. Okay. When I was in prison, I probably read about 4 or 5 books on self-publishing, and Jimmy also read quite a few books on self-publishing. So we know where to go get the books printed. We know how much an editor's supposed to get paid. We know how much the typesetter's supposed to get paid. We know how much the person who does the cover is supposed to get paid. So all of these things make it where our book is getting printed probably cheaper than what Simon & Schuster, maybe not cheaper, but around the same cost. Okay. So and as you see, my book looked like it was printed by a major publisher. That was one of the most important things that I wanted. I didn't want my book to look like it was published by John on the block.
Right.
Because a lot of books, the typesetting is off.
Right. The
letters are not right. A lot of misspell. I mean, it's hard not to have no misspelled words in your book.
But you want to sit on that shelf in wherever it's at, and it looks just like this.
Yeah, they can't tell, you know. And people come up to me all the time and ask me, man, who published your book? And I said, I did.
That's hard.
So I'm proud of it. This book is gonna live on, forever probably. For as long as the world is here, my book will live. And that means that I'll live, and my kids will probably be getting royalties off of it, forever as well. And we all got 3 or 4 books in us. It's just a matter of will you sit down and tell your story. Basically, will you be heard? Will you stand up?
Absolutely.
And tell your story.
So going into it, if somebody wants to self-publish their own book and release their own book, what would your suggestion be as far as how much to have as a base of investment to successfully, from writing it to actually
I think a person could probably publish a book for about $1,000.
Wow.
Without using any big names, you can't get Kathy Scott. You ain't gonna get Kathy Scott for that price. But I'm saying you don't really need Kathy Scott. Right. I wanted Kathy Scott because I felt she would give me that extra boost that, she wrote The Death of Tupac, The Death of Biggie. Mm-hmm. She was a criminal investigator for a newspaper. So I felt that those elements was worth me paying her for doing it and getting to put her name.
Right. So it comes back on the back end as far as like PR.
Yeah. That's what
smart decisions.
That's what I was hoping for. But you really don't need that. If you really just want to get your book out, and you're gonna grind your book out like I wind up grinding my book out anyway. I sell my book on the street corners. Barnes and Noble don't sell my book. Walmart don't sell my books. Amazon sells a few online, but I am the motor behind my machine.
Wow, I did not know that.
Something you spoke of as one of the keys is studying, and obviously, with everything you said, you've put in the time. Just like self-publishing, nobody showed you that. You did that research. And kind of transitioning into music, we have this era now where it's just so easy to self-publish even music. And like me, being an artist and trying to put game out there on the channel, it's like most professions, you go to school for years to learn the craft, to come out and be a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever it may be. But like with music, it's like in the internet, some of these things, it's just today I'm this, tomorrow I'm this. So I feel like the artists that do study kind of reap the benefits, a lot more. I'm sure you're obviously a fan of hip hop, just as the culture's a fan of you. How do you feel about the current state of entrepreneurship, though, with artists and musicians? And you feel like they're wisening up?
Well. Let me say this too. I don't believe that an artist just one day wake up and they're superstars. I don't think that happens. You know, I mean, people hear about, oh, they put a video up on YouTube and it got 5 million views. Well, what did he do before that video? You know, let me see the video before that one. You know, let me see where he starts singing at the first time they started singing. Where did they start? You know, if you really want to judge, you have to go to the root. You know, you just can't look at the finished product and say, oh, well, they was an internet sensation. Who says so? Right. You know, who says there was an internet sensation? Yeah, that one video might have been an internet sensation, but what about the ones before when only 10 people saw it, or maybe only 100 people saw it, or the concert that they went to, or the studio they was at? You know, you have to, what I'm trying to say is that you have to go all the way to the beginning in order to see if a person was an internet sensation or if they was just all of a sudden just blew up.
Right. Especially nowadays too, like you can really see the iceberg now. Like somebody might have put their first video up a year ago on YouTube, and you know, you saw the numbers steadily climb, and then a year later somebody does have a popping song. It's a lot easier to reverse engineer, do your research and reverse engineer what's going on nowadays. And
that's what I was trying to say, that it takes that in order to know if this person really worked and earned their position, or if by some stroke of luck, you know, they got discovered. You know, I just don't believe that luck works that way.
Right.
You know, I think that the more you work, the luckier you get.
Right. Create your own luck. Create your own luck. Yeah.
You know, in The Richest Man in Babylon, he talks about they analyze luck in The Richest Man in Babylon. Right. Like, they're having a session with all of these wise men, and they're trying to figure out what luck is. What does luck mean? You know, and one guy said, oh, well, I consider it lucky if I'm walking down the street and I find a bag of money. You know, that was luck, because he's saying that's luck because he did that with no effort. And then the teacher, he comes back and he says, well, that is a form of luck, but how many people gonna get lucky like that?
Right.
He said more people are gonna get luck by going out in the field, tending the field, getting all the weeds out, plowing, planting seeds. Yeah, and sometimes your harvest, it don't grow. You know, the rain might come and wash all your seeds away, or the next time the birds eat them up. He said, but if you keep going, pretty soon you're gonna get lucky and you're gonna get a crop that's gonna come to harvest. And that's what I mean when I say about an artist who put out his first video or something, and he didn't get the views. Right. You know, and then he did another one, and then all of a sudden they do one and it explodes.
Right.
That was him tending the ground and watering and fertilizing and doing all of the steps that he needed to do until it caught root and power.